There is a pervasive idea in the martial arts world. The idea is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the ultimate solution to unarmed conflict. Everyone assumes Jiu-Jitsu beats everything. But what if you are ignoring small joint damage because sport rules keep you safe? Today, we put Hapkido locks to the test against real resistance and examine whether BJJ's confidence is truly justified or simply complacent. No taps on cue, no compliant partners, no rulebook armor. When speed, pain, and chaos hit at once, do those fingers and wrists still fold, or does the myth finally snap? This belief is not without merit. It is born from decades of competitive success in a variety of formats. However, this success often occurs within a specific context. That context is defined by sport rules. These rules are designed for safety and fair play. They create an environment where certain dangers are systematically removed. Hands, fingers. This protection, while necessary for sport, can create a dangerous blind spot in a practitioner's overall fighting ability. Today, we will examine this blind spot. We will do so by exploring a set of tools often neglected in modern grappling. These tools are the small joint manipulations of Hapkido. Every combat sport, especially grappling, operates within a carefully constructed framework of rules. This isn't arbitrary. It's a necessary pact between athletes. This framework is absolutely essential for ensuring both the longevity of the athletes and the integrity of safe, repeatable competition. A primary function of these rules is to prohibit attacks on small, delicate joints, fingers, toes. And most forms of direct twisting wrist manipulations are also typically illegal. This is a sensible precaution. The small bones and intricate ligaments in the hands and feet are easily damaged, often permanently. Banning these attacks allows athletes to compete vigorously for years, pushing their limits without the constant threat of career-ending injuries from a single bad grip. The problem arises when this sport-specific safety net is mistaken for a universal reality. The controlled environment of the gym fosters habits that can be liabilities on the street. This system of prohibitions creates a dangerous cognitive blind spot, a phenomenon I call rulebook armor. Through thousands of hours of practice, the grappler becomes conditioned to defend a very specific set of threats. Chokes, arm bars, leg locks. They do not, however, learn to recognize or defend a sudden, violent twist of a single finger, because it's a threat that has been artificially removed from their training world. Their hands, the primary tools for gripping, framing, and controlling an opponent, are unconsciously treated as untouchable. An opponent in a real confrontation operates under no such restrictions. They will grab, twist, and break anything available to gain an advantage. In that moment, the grappler, who has only ever trained within the rules, is dangerously unprepared. Their armor is an illusion, a construct of the training hall that offers no protection outside its walls. Hapkido is an art that places significant emphasis on small joint manipulation, a strategy designed to bypass an opponent's raw strength and size. Its curriculum is replete with techniques targeting the delicate structures of the fingers, where even a small amount of pressure can create an overwhelming response. The same principle applies to the wrists, a critical junction for controlling an opponent's entire arm and breaking their structure. And other small articulations of the body, like the elbow and thumb, are also primary targets. The underlying theory is compelling. Focused force, applied with precision to a vulnerable point, can control a much larger and stronger opponent. A finger or a wrist bent against its natural range of motion generates immense pain and creates powerful biomechanical leverage. In demonstrations, these techniques look clean, efficient, and almost effortless. However, traditional training often relies on a compliant partner. The partner offers a predictable, static attack and allows the technique to unfold without disrupting the flow, creating a false sense of mastery. A real adversary will not hold still. When they feel their joint manipulated, their reaction will be explosive and chaotic, a desperate, instinctual scramble to escape. They will pull, twist, strike, and change levels. The smooth, elegant technique that worked perfectly on a compliant partner often falls apart in the first second of genuine resistance. Our central hypothesis is this: Hapkido principles are sound. The biomechanical leverage is real and potent, but the traditional application and training methodology are often insufficient to withstand the chaos of live duress. These locks can be made effective, but only if they are integrated with zero-space control, fortified by athletic conditioning, and relentlessly pressure-tested, refined, and drilled against full, uncooperative resistance. To To test our hypothesis, we designed a series of live experiments. The setup was straightforward. We selected Hapkido practitioners skilled in small joint locks. Their opponents were BJJ grapplers of varying skill. The BJJ athletes were directed to resist with 100% intensity, scramble, strike if necessary, pursue takedowns in dominant positions. They were not to tap unless in legitimate pain or at risk of injury. No points, no time limits, no illegal techniques. We filmed every round, focusing on the entry, the opponent's reaction, and the outcome. The Hapkido practitioner's goal was to secure and finish. The BJJ grappler's goal was to escape, neutralize the threat, and impose their game. The initial rounds were revealing. Many classic entries failed immediately. A standing wrist lock from distance was easily thwarted. The grappler would rip free, change level, and drive for a takedown. Space and time to set up the lock were rarely available. Constant movement, forward pressure, instinct to close distance rendered textbook setups obsolete. It wasn't all failure. In fact, we saw distinct, repeatable success in transitional scrambles, those chaotic moments where structure momentarily breaks down. Here's a classic case study. As a grappler posts a hand to regain base, their wrist becomes a temporary anchor. A quick, opportunistic finger or wrist lock applied in this window often worked, exploiting the opponent's commitment to that post. If the limb was secured while the attacker's body was momentarily anchored with their own hips or legs, success rates jumped dramatically. These weren't static setups. They happened in messy in-betweens. Conversely, the most common failure was a lack of total body control. In this breakdown, notice the attacker isolates the wrist with only their hands. This leaves the opponent's body free. Their powerful legs, hips, and core torque easily overpower the grip. Grip endurance was another major culprit. In prolonged scrambles, physical and mental fatigue combined with sweat eroded the precision and holding power needed for such delicate manipulations. BJJ rounds inherently build superior grip capacity. Hapkido grips were often secured but rarely sustained long enough to finish against a resisting, conditioned opponent. Timing failures were also frequent. Trying standing wrist locks against a forward drive is a low percentage gamble. The opponent's full body momentum almost always beats isolated joint mechanics. But the most critical failure was the lack of chaining. When one move was blocked, the follow-up was missing. We drilled this specifically. If a wrist lock is defended, immediately flow to an arm drag or a collar tie. BJJ thrives on these sequences. Arm bar to triangle to sweep. Small joint locks consistently failed when treated as isolated all-or-nothing events instead of an entry into a larger control system. Ultimately, the deciding factor was an adaptive mindset that could read the context of the fight, not a rigid adherence to a single perfect move. Section 6, Athletic Solutions, Forging the Tools for Control. The failures indicted preparation, not the techniques. To make Hapkido work under BJJ pressure, you need BJJ level attributes. First, grip endurance towel hangs for time. Heavy farmer's walks, plate pinch holds to build forearm density. Second, whole body pressure, not arm versus arm, but body versus limb. Drop weight through your chest onto their elbow. Use hips and legs. Pin them. Eliminate space. Remove their larger muscle groups from the equation. Third, scramble readiness. Plyometrics, box jumps, medicine ball throws, stress drills, spar after sprints and burpees, train technique under extreme duress. Finally, zero space control, positional sparring to maintain pins, not hunt subs. Once control exists, finishing small joints is exponentially easier. Section 7. The Science of the Finish. Subtle adjustments increase success. Maximize leverage. Minimize counters. Shorten the lever. Use your forearm blade as a fulcrum directly on wrist bones. Section 8. The Hybrid Blueprint. Merging precision and pressure. The culmination is a modern hybrid. Not Hapkido, not BJJ, but a synthesis for pressure. Built on 3 integrated layers trained simultaneously. Master small joint biomechanics. Shortest levers. Efficient entries. Preserve Hapkido, expand with BJJ chaining, drill sequences that flow and return, establish total body control before, during, after the lock. Provide the engine, ropes, kettlebells, interval sparring, train all 3 each session. low intensity technical to high intensity validation. Section 9. Conclusion. A call to evolve and validate. The notion that any single art holds all answers is a dangerous myth. Rulebook armor creates a genuine blind spot. Traditional Hapkido methods are often insufficient against athletic resistance. The truth lies in intelligent integration. Validate relentlessly. If a lock fails more than it succeeds, refine or replace. Train like the test you will face. With whole body control, superior conditioning, and intelligent biomechanics, small joint locks can stop a strong grappler mid-scramble. Thank you for viewing. Comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We are continuing to bring martial arts to the forefront on YouTube. Follow us to watch a video on your screen, and we will see you there.